Must we till then in prison cell be thrust? You must. That seems unnecessarily severe. Here, here. Bum, 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 bum. For a month to dwell in a dungeon cell, looking thin and wizened in a solitary prison, is a poor lookout for a soldier stout who is longing for the rattle of a complicated battle. Yes, he's longing for the rattle of a complicated battle, and the rum-tum-tum of the military drums and the guns that go boom boom. Sorry. Oh, hey, we don't want to. You guys don't want to see me. Wait, here we go. Can you guys hear me? Is this thing on? No excessive use of caps allowed. Thank you, Mubot. Can you guys hear me? Somebody said no sound? Question mark. Yeah, okay. What a dramatic entry. When Hilarian's bride is at length complied with the just conditions of her requisitions, you may go in haste and indulge your taste for the fascinating rattle of a complicated battle. Yes, the fascinating rattle. Where'd the chat go? I said pop out chat, and now chat is gone. Show chat. Pop out chat. Pop out. Ugh, I must have clicked the wrong button. That's never happened to me before. Yes, we can hear you. Look, there's a bunch of me. There's a... Hey, it looks like the little Twitch alert thingy is working. Now, I can just close that window, right? So, when last we left our heroes, we were in the middle of building the world of Collabris. And actually, I'm not sure it's a world. I think the map that we are working on, I think it is the world of Collabris. I think the map that we're working on is one region. And who knows? We may do lots of regions. Who knows? But for now, for the purposes of the stream and my goals for the YouTube channel, we're just going to do one. We're just going to do one region for now. So where is Hexographer? Oh no! Don't set up Hexographer. Run Hexographer. Where did you go, Hexographer? Where are you? Oh, here we go. Boop. Oh, I've already got the world up. Sweet. Let's bring this down. Welcome, Tickle My Cows. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you're able to join us live. Good morning, D&D God. I don't know who Mushroom Parent is talking to. I am certainly not a god. I'm barely mortal. Only 70 people right now. See, now I told you. See, a friend of mine, we had like 800 at one point. The first stream, and a friend of mine is like, it's only going to grow, and I'm like, I don't think so. I think people are going to be like, well, that was fun. I did that. How do you update Hexographer within the program? I think you just have to download the new version. So. No, we're going to talk about Knack Tiger. I think one of the things I'd like to do, one of the things I'd like to do this stream is flesh out a lot of the places that we have worked on already, or kind of we named and we know almost nothing about and then moved on. So we are going to spend some time. Matt, if someone asks if you're a god, you say yes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Can't argue with that. Did you tweet out that you're live? Yeah, I think so. I said, let's do this. And I put a link to the thing. So yeah, we're going to spend some time working here in the map. You know, I tried to bring the, this tells you a lot about how my mind works. And I use the word works quite wrongly. I like a certain style of hex map symbol, and I didn't think Hexographer was doing it. And so I was going to bring the map into Campaign Cartographer. Campaign Cartographer is a very powerful program, but it's also just nonsense, right? Like no normal person should have to try to use that program. But I have spent the time and I haven't mastered it, but I've become barely competent at it. So I was going to bring this map into Campaign Cartographer. One of the things Campaign Cartographer is doing, Strawman Matt, I'm glad you're reading Priest. I hope you enjoy it. Don't get too attached to any of those characters, is that it does fractals really well, which is great for rivers. For instance, these rivers are kind of, whatever. And so Campaign Cartographer, I thought for rivers and roads would be great. But also it does text on a curve, which is fantastic, which makes the text look really cool. But, some of that stuff I can do in Photoshop. But I just wanted to put icons on the map. And I got so angry and frustrated with Campaign Cartographer that I just gave up. And this is a program I've used before. So instead, what I discovered was, and this is, I'm really silly. Like, you see how that hex is filled in? There's actually a little button for fill bottom of hex. So before, when I was dropping stuff in, why is my mouse not working? Doo-doot. I would drop in like a little thing here. And I was like, it just looks like it's just kind of floating there. Well, it's not. But I'm like, I want, there's a certain thing I want. And I was like, oh, what does fill bottom of hex do? And then when I placed a little guy in here, boop, wow, look at that. It filled, oh, it's nice. It fills the bottom of the hex. It looks like it fits. It's like it's nestled right in the hex. I love that. So yeah, I just came back here to Hexographer after having played around with Campaign Cartographer and said, no, that's ridiculous. Let's remove that feature. Let's remove that feature. All right, so one of the things that's pretty cool about this whole process is that the notification icon is huge. Here, let's see if I can do something about that. Whoa, come back here. Browser source. There, now when someone joins, it will be smaller. It'll be more tasteful to your tastes. I am a river to my people. You said it was too large? I made it smaller. Where are the gnomes going? The gnomes are going to another map. Gnomes. Psh. We've already got dwarves and dwargar. We've halflings running around. How many little tiny races do you need? Curing OCD one hex at a time. Yeah. Did we decide the evil druid doesn't have a tower but just lives? No, the evil druid just definitely lives in just a big tree. Yeah, straw man mats. People who hey, does this thing work? So those of you, can we remove the Twitch pop-ups that block half the screen? No, we're not going to. I'm going to make them larger. They'll block the entire screen. What happens if I type in? Hey, look at that. If you want more content like this, support the channel. Yeah. So all this is paid for by sales of my novels. And some of the people in the Straw Man Matt are reading the first book. And one of the things I like to do when someone tweets at me and says, hey, I'm halfway through Priest, I go, wow, fantastic. Priest is my first novel. I say, wow, fantastic. How do you think this book is going to end? And they all give me some variation of, oh, I'm sure the main character is going to save the day. He's going to figure out the murder mystery and save the knights. And the knights are going to ride out. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. We'll see how that goes. Let's see. Gnomes to the plane of fire. Protosauria, yeah, we just started. So one of the cool things about Hexographer is that it's run, as far as I can tell, by one guy, a guy named Joe, and Joe often follows the stream, and I think he just noticed an explosion of downloads and purchases for Hexographer, and was like, what is going on? What? And he found the stream, and so he watches the stream, and he watches me get frustrated with stuff, and he just goes and fixes it, and then uploads a new version of Hexographer and emails me and says, hey, by the way, I fixed this, that, and the other thing. So it's pretty awesome that now, like, when I drop in custom text, for instance, if I made a new text and the new text was, hey, the text is better, and I drop it in here, there we go, and I can grab it and move it around a lot easier now, and it's not a huge pain in the butt. And I can also, if I grab that text. Cortana just decided that she wants to listen to me. No, go away, Cortana. If I hit select text, then it will automatically kind of like do its best. See, there's Zir. It'll do its best to let me just select Zir and move it around. It does stick, and he mentioned that. He's like, it sticks a little bit, but that seems to have something to do with, see, I can just grab the Northern Sanction and move it around. So moving and manipulating text is a lot easier now, thanks to Joe. Let me delete this text. I don't think we have a region called, hey, the text is better. Boop. There we go. Let's see. I'm just every once in a while you're going to see me kind of go brain fart as I look through chat and make sure no one has said anything that is. I can't drink that. There's a lid on it. Hey, you can also just say if you don't like my overlay. No, Zave Gaming. It's not that I don't like it. I thought it was really neat. I just don't know what it's for. I don't know. I've seen, like, I was on a podcast and they used the overlay to make it so that each person being interviewed was in their own little box. But I want my viewers to be able to see my whole monitor. So at least for now, I mean, did I delete the Northern? I deleted the Northern Sanction. Well, apparently they lost their war with the men of the Scale Hills. Here, let's see if we can fix that. My mouse is really misbehaving, which is annoying because I have an expensive mouse. The Northern Sanction. Boop. 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 I would just like to start new text. Save new text. There we go. And let's make you rotate 0. There we go. And let's bring your size down to what was a good size before? 24? Let's try 28. That seems about right. And it's already selected, so I should just be able to grab it and move it over here. And it's white. Let's make it. It vanished. It completely disappeared. My wife has read both your books and believes you're not working hard enough on them. Well, I'm here with you folks, with you fine ladies and gentlemen, instead of working on my third novel, Fighter. But I am on vacation for the next couple of weeks. So hopefully I'll be able to get some writing done. Let's get the Northern Sanction back. Where did you go, Northern Sanction? What did I do? Let's start new text, Northern Sanction, save text, and boop, it should just work. There we go. Let's move you over here, and let's make your color black. Black as night, black as pitch, blacker than the foulest witch. Save. There we go. The Northern Sanction is... Ooh, you guys, ooh, yeah. I don't know if you saw what just happened, but my text has disappeared. I don't know what's going on. But it's kind of delightful. If you're going to fail spectacularly. All right. Here we go. Northern Sanction. Get your butt over here. Stop moving. Here, let's zoom in a little bit. I remember that the text selection thing... The text selection thing was select text, select. There we go, Northern Sanction. See, it's a lot. It's just once you zoom in, the text selection thing gets a lot easier. Now, I would just like to save that and then not monkey with it, and hopefully it will not disappear. Matt, what are your books about? They're about 300 pages long. These are the jokes, folks. I mean, my novels, it's a series of novels set in a fantasy world. Actually, they're set in my D&D campaign, although that's a coincidence. I just needed a setting. I had a story I wanted to tell. I needed a setting, and so I just pillaged. I stole my own campaign setting. But they're not about D&D in any way, shape, manner, fashion, or form. It's a kind of a hard-boiled... It starts off noir and then turns into hard-boiled. There's a difference between noir and hard-boiled. And it's the positioning of text box is really bugging me. Fine. So-and-so too. Well, what do you mean? It can't be any higher up. That's it. That's as high as it goes. When was that Hexographer giveaway? I think we are going to... I'm going to give away the entire suite of products. Hexographer, Dungeonographer, Cityographer. They also have a heraldry thing. If you guys haven't seen some of the heraldry stuff that Dan Connolly has been doing, you can do your own heraldry in it. Negark crawled out of bed for me. I hope it's not too early where you are. Let's see. Duncan does die. Hayden will... No, alas, no. You could use the overlay thing in this to make it easier to focus on chat and Hexographer. What is the problem with the overlay? Like over here on my screen, like I'll show you. Like over here on my screen, the overlay is a tiny little fraction of the... Do these programs work on Mac? Yeah, I think they do. Yeah. So, and we're currently at 14,000 subscribers, and I enjoyed the last time we did a giveaway. We gave away a D20 from space, a meteoric iron D20, and I think that we tied it to I needed about 2,500 subscribers. We're currently at 14,000. I thought about doing the giveaway at 20,000, but that would be 6,000 subscribers we would need to get, and that means the giveaway, if it doesn't generate, some juice, it could take a long time. So maybe 18,000, I don't know. We will just slip that notification button to the bottom where less information. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Whoop. Oh, wait, actually, you know what I can do? There we go. Okay. So now somebody subscribe. Redlius, I hope you're enjoying your D20. Am I late? Yep, the Fedora King. I'm sorry. This is the end. You missed it. And it was spectacular. Easily the best stream we've done. Anyway, no, we're just getting started. Hey, it's Nacho Shark Gaming. Fantastic. I totally blew through Priest in like 3 days. Well, see, a sad sign, and it's like sign as in sine wave. That's clever. 15,000 would be like 2 days. Like I get a lot of subscribers. I get over 100 subscribers a day at this point, which is amazing. It's still... I can't really wrap my head around it. I can't think too hard about it. So we got to set some yardstick. Let's get started on this. It's already 11:12. Let us find the text document for StreamWorld. Let's see how it looks. Pompous Dingo. Hey, Pompous Dingo. I hope you're doing well. I am doing fantastic. I'm having a great day. I'll tell you something. There's something weird about this whole stream thing that I hadn't anticipated. I want to show you guys the minis I got. My friend Jim gave me. Regardless of how my day is going, regardless of how tired I might be from the night before, or how just got stage fright or whatever I have, and leading up to the stream, once the stream is live and I'm talking to you wonderful people, I feel great. I feel like I'm in a great mood. Matt, please turn up the volume on your microphone. Okay. Really? Should I give Colville books a shot? It probably needs something to read after I read the Dresden Files. Daros TD, let me tell you, do I really need to turn the mic up? This is dangerous. This is... Actually, I think the mic is maximally turned up, which is astonishing. I should probably turn it down a little bit because the gain on this thing is crazy. Enough of this gay banter. We're getting to that point. Should you give my novels a shot? In fact, I'm going to type it in again because who knows? Should you give these things a shot? My novels have oft times been compared to the Dresden Files. Or actually, if you watched Tom Cruise movie Jack Reacher, they're based on a series of books, and a couple of reviewers on Amazon said that the main character reminds them of Jack Reacher. Pat Rothfuss, I get compared to a lot of people we're all of the same ilk. Scott Lynch, we're all of the same ilk. We're all writers who are kind of responding to the fat fantasy trend that we didn't like in the 90s, and so we write shorter, ideally punchier books with a lot more dialogue and action. So if you like shorter, punchier novels with a lot of dialogue and action, then my books are for you. If you want lots and lots of descriptive text, and we're going to get into the heraldry of the world and uniforms and the symbols, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Not much for reading. Wow, really? I have read Stephen Bruce's stuff. I love his homage to the Three Musketeers. It's one of my favorite things. No, I am still using the pro version of Hexographer. So here is the text. This is the text document. This is the World of Collabris Word file that when we come up with a cool idea, we type it into the Word file, and then it becomes a reel. I like my logo. When last we left our heroes. All right, enough of this gay banter. Let's talk about Dreshmore. So here we have the world of Dreshmore. It is a swamp. This is where lizardmen live. There's a ruined city here, the ruined city of Coro Magus. There's a dead forest that probably once there was forest all over this place. The forest of Tal and Arfel probably went all the way over here. So tell me something interesting about... Wait. Oh, wait, hang on. Pompous Dingo, do you have any more idea when you're going to do the next episode? Yeah, we should do another episode tomorrow. If everything goes well, we'll have another episode tomorrow, and the episode will be about random encounters. Can you guys see my shirt? Can you guys see my cool nerd shirt? Can you see what movie is this based on? Renardix, I'm glad you had a good time running D&D. I hope it was fun and not stressful. I still don't know if there is an audio version. There is not. There is not an audiobook version. I've considered doing an audiobook version. I started reading my own version, and then I ran into a scene in one of my novels where like 5 different people are talking, and I am not that good an actor to get 5 different accents, and you can tell all the different people. So tell me something. It is Close Encounters Bilharzia-ites. Bilharzia-ites correctly guessed that the shirt is based on Close Encounters, one of my favorite movies. Any plans for that Microscope Kingdom episode yet? No. Once again, I failed to use Kingdom before we did this, but I would like to do that at some point. So maybe another stream sometime in the distant future. Recruit my D&D group for audiobooks. No, negative. That would be terrible. I'm definitely not an actor, and they are certainly definitely not actors. All right, so let's talk about these lizardmen. Tell me something interesting about these lizardmen. Like, what makes these? Let me ask you. Let me put it to you another way. What do these lizardmen want? Right? What is it? They live out here in the swamp. Sun worshippers. No, Clockwork. Who, by the way, I believe Clockwork's map is the map of that. The hand-drawn map is from Clockwork. That thing was amazing. I should link to it. I should find it and link to it. I think I can do that. Let's see. I'm standby. I'm sorry. I know what punch people are in chat and are streaming ideas. I will stop and I will read the ideas. Somebody's asking for the hex file for the map. I will absolutely post. I'll put the hexographer file up when we're done. And here is I believe Clockworks. That is the hand-drawn version of this map. It looks spectacular. I just want to see it. I want to color it in and come up with some fantastic... Wait, I like that. Lizardmen want metal. I like that. Those of you who are offering non-useful commentary, like the Lizardmen just want to be loved, nil points. No points. Let's see. The Lizardmen are transsexuals. No, although they're probably spontaneously hermaphroditic. Get my good friend Matt Mercer to do the voice acting. Matt's good, but he couldn't do well. I mean, he could. He absolutely could. But he's expensive. Recruit Vox Machina for my audiobook. Yeah, so just I don't know if you guys know how much it costs to do an actual audiobook, like straight up. Obviously, those of you who were tuned in to watch World Building, you didn't come in here to hear me talk about audiobooks, but it costs on the order of like $50,000 to $60,000 to get an audiobook recorded, right? Because it's not just, you have to, first of all, you have to pay the actors, which is one of the, and actors aren't, I don't think actors are the most expensive part of the thing, but having a whole cast is even more expensive. If you have 5 different actors, that's 5 times as much actor money you're paying. But then you have to pay for the studio time, and if you're talking about, a novel, it can take hours and hours and hours in the studio, many, many, many sessions to get an entire audiobook recorded. And then you have to pay the engineer, because you have to pay for the actual room that you're recording in, and you have to pay an employee who's sitting there taking the audio and recording it and chopping it up, and then you have to pay somebody to mix it and master it and edit it and put it together. And so somebody was saying, oh, you should do a Kickstarter for your audiobook. And I was like, it would be so much money that it wouldn't, no. They want the swamp to extend. I like the idea that they want metal, although someone said that was from a novel. Lizardmen, let's see, they worship a giant frog. Do they have a frog god? I like a frog god. Perhaps they serve a Medusa who I like that. They serve a Medusa who inhabits a ruined city. That's pretty cool. Where is my Word document? Here we go. So where is Dresh? Dreshmore, all good stuff. Serve Queen of Stone. The Queen of Stone. What is the name? Sorry. What is the name of the Medusa that they serve and worship? What about a Guardian Naga instead of I think we'll have a Guardian. Liam or Sam have their own studio. Not in that sense. They have a home studio, which means they can record at home. Lizardmen, Link to the Swamp. Someone was just playing Overwatch. The Lizardmen in the Yuan-Ti, All Oogs, is referencing the Snake Men who live out... Actually, I think I could just scroll up here. The Snake Men who live over here in the Scale Hills. And I like the idea that they both... There's some good ideas in here. Let's see. Magora. Sir Brennan, you win the prize. I like it. There are a lot of good names in here. Vanazek, but I like the Medusa named Magora. Isn't that maybe... is it alliteration a little bit to Marvel Comics? Reed Richards, Bruce Banner, J. Jonah Jameson. There's some good names in here. Delmina, Arzon, Mandara. I like Magora. I don't know. I know maybe it's alliterative and therefore silly. The Medusa. And does Dreshmore have meaning? I don't know. Dresh probably does mean something. Maybe they're called the Dresh. Maybe the men of the lizard are called the Dresh. So here's something I think. They serve the Queen of Stone as she occupies the ruined city of Magus. Coro Magus. So let's see. This is, by the way, this is why we have the slow chat thing turned on, because this is a lot of content to have to sift through. It would be insane if people could just type whatever they wanted whenever they wanted. So I do think that these guys, the Lizardmen, Goblins, all that good stuff, of the same lineage, the same reptilian lineage that spawned the UNT of the Scale Hills. We are building a world together. Isn't it, there is a dragon in WoW named... But, I mean, that's the thing. So, Lazorn, this is one of the things we have to deal with in the stream, is that any name that I like, any name that somebody comes up with that is popular, if you have read enough, if you've been to enough places in the world, if you've watched enough TV, it reminds you of something. So we can't get too hung up on that. I do try to filter, you know, what goes through, and if people suggest things that are, to my mind, obviously ridiculous, then I say no. But otherwise, I try not to get, are we going to specify what the Titan is? I don't understand that question. Yeah. Yes, I'm aware of what I have played WoW. Yes, I know. But I don't think Coro Magus is close enough. And there are people, believe it or not, there are people who haven't played WoW, and I don't necessarily think that those guys get to have a monopoly on a group of syllables. Let's see. So let me think. What is the name of the? We have Raxus, I believe. Right? Correct. Isn't Raxus in here somewhere? Yes, there was a Titan named Raxus who was slain. So I think maybe part of the setting is that there were once Titans that built this world, and they have since been slain. They have since been killed. And so I think that the UNT and they worship the dead. They also worship Titan. So I don't think that's true. I think Raxus is the Titan. Maybe it is. Maybe they did. Maybe they do worship him. I wanted to come up with another Titan. That the guys out here serve. Give me the name of another. If Raxus is the name of one of the Titans in this setting that helped one of the kind of creator gods of this setting, give me the name of another Titan. Is the Titan a dragon? Yeah, I don't. I see what you're saying. I like Oran as the name of... Raxus, Daxon is a good name. Varrock, there's some good names in here. It's really warm in here, so you're going to see me sweat. I apologize. Someone's been timed out for 10 seconds. Excessive use of caps. Yeah, come on. We have enough to deal with in the chat. We're with Vorax, Raxus, and Vorax. I like Vorax. Yeah, there are some cool names in here. Let's see. All right, we can stop with the names. Let's see. I'm going to pick a name. I like Karam. That's a cool name. Godar. That's not bad. Maybe the Titan's name was Dresh. Maybe that's why it's called the Dreshmore. Does that make sense? What do you guys think of that? There were a lot of good names. I don't want to just... I think that the other Wes had a name that somebody liked. Let me see. Brianthor. Dresh. Okay, so I apologize. I apologize for asking for all these names and then just not using them. But stand by. I think we'll do something cool here with it. The same Reptilian that spawned. So I think. So I don't think these guys are. I think these guys were the children of the Titan Dresh. So let's see who. Let's see. There's a cool name, Zartan. I like that. Ruled by their chieftain, Zartan. And there are 3 tribes. The red scaled. Let's see. It's really quiet in here. I need some music or something, but I don't want to get... Man, there's some great names in here. Xanthor. That sounds like something from something. Let me see. No, it looks like it's got... So I like... the red scale... black scale. So we're learning a little bit about this culture. Sorry, I realized I just kind of, there was not a lot of blah blah, and so as a result, I can hear people leaving the stream. How many people are in the stream, by the way? Is there? There's any... No, yeah, no. I would have to get my my headset, which I don't know where my headset is at the moment. I mean, I have got the Sennheisers, but me sitting here with the Sennheisers on. See, there's about 4. So we had about 500 people last time. We had about 450 people this time. So that seems like about our speed, which is probably about right. Yeah, we're gonna have 3 tribes. We're gonna have red, green, and black lizardmen, and they each have a different name. They serve the Queen of Stone, Magora, the Medusa. She occupies the ruined city of Coro Magus. So I want to know something about that ruined city. The children of the Titan Dresh, ruled by their chieftain Zartan. 3 tribes: the red-scaled Xanthor tribe, the black-scale standby. Let's scroll back up to the list of cool names. The black scale Oran tribe. And in fact, I think... And the Kuroth tribe. Red, black, and the green scaled Kuroth tribe. And there are 3 tribes. So let's see, 3 tribes. Let's do a bullet point list. You know, I realize that the red scale Xanthor tribe, the black scale Oran tribe, the green scale led by... So if the leader of all... Okay, so ruled by the chieftain Zartan. So I think that then Zartan... the red scales are in charge right now, led by Zartan. The green, what is... Stand by. Scrolling back up, looking for cool names. People have a bunch of cool names. The green scale, we are the Kuroth. We are the Kuroth tribe. Yes. How does Snake Man talk? Malok. I like Malok. That is a cool name. The black scale Oran tribe, led by Malok. The green scaled Kuroth tribe. I just like the idea that the politics of each of these places has its own kind of what is going on there. So that makes it an interesting place if you end up near it or being attacked by people from there. They have their own politics, right? They have their own, let's see, the green scaled Kuroth tribe, led by Arrakis. Arrakis, Paraxil, Zultan, Zorgram, Talos. I've heard that name before. I like Hedera, actually. Hedera quinquifolia. Just because I want to give the different tribes different like naming schemes. I don't want them necessarily to all... Okay, so we know a little bit more about these guys. Yeah, but this is Malok with 2. See, again, Leventros, Malok is a guy in Destiny. Has lost and at some point people will have forgotten that. I should make, next time we do this, if indeed there is a next time we do this, I'm going to make a Moobot. I'll make a Moobot that bans people, not bans, that would be ridiculous, that just times out people who mention gnomes. And just see what happens. See if people go crazy. All right, so what is it that... So here we have... Let's zoom out a little bit. Well, let's zoom in a little bit more. So let's go to a little bit between here. There we go. So what is it that who are these lizardmen, these tribes of lizardmen in the Dreshmore? Who do these guys? Who are their enemies? Who are they fighting against? You know, are they fighting against the orcs? I guess that across the lake here, are they fighting? They must be fighting against the elves. Uh, What are your thoughts about building the world outside in versus inside out? Well, we are. I mean, I don't know what that means. The only two ways I know of doing it are top down and bottom up. And it's funny because I've now streamed 3 times, 4 times, doing this, really 3.5 times, building this map, and people are like, "Wow, it's really interesting the way your approach to world building." And I was like, I have an approach to world building. I did not know that. And so I started asking people on Twitter. I was like, how would you characterize that? And they're like, well, you're very top down. And I'm like, oh, for this I am, yeah. But I did a whole episode very early on, one of the first episodes of running the game I did, where I was like, you don't need any of this. This thing we are doing now, you absolutely do not need to play D&D. It is fun. It is fun to make a world. It's, I think, one of the uniquely fun things about running Dungeons and Dragons is making a world. But you don't need to be. You can start just with a town that you don't even need a map of, and then there's a dungeon out there, and the goblins in the dungeon have kidnapped the blacksmith's son and/or daughter, and you're going to go rescue them. That's it. That's all you need to get started. And I think that is probably since it's the simplest and most straightforward way to get started, it's probably the best because you can build out and build your world from there out. You don't have to do it from the top down. We are doing this because I thought it would be fun. I don't know if it's obvious. I have never done this before. I have never used Hexographer to build. I've used Hexographer to make my maps. The map of my campaign setting uses Hexographer, but I designed that map on my own before I brought it into Hexographer. I just knew Hexographer could generate random worlds. I thought it was neat that you could click a button and it would go, it would populate a random map, and it would do its best to make mountain ranges and forests and stuff. And so I just got the idea that we could build a whole campaign setting that way. I'm not necessarily advocating it. It's not like I've done this many times. Let me scroll down and see. Well, let's see. Tal and Arfel are high elves. So I think, do I have a link to the map of the campaign setting? Yeah, there's a link around there somewhere in one of my videos. Probably one of the campaign diary videos has a map to all the stuff. If you remove 1 square of grass, we can connect Haldrim to the inner giant lake. Stand by. My phone is going beep beep. It's just telling me Twitch is people on Twitter are. So where were we? Somebody said they liked what Trograph said. So what did Trograph said? The Titan was female and slain by the elves, and her decomposing body created the swamp. That's not a bad idea. Hang on a minute. Yeah, I think they. It makes sense that people traveling along the water, any humans traveling northwest along the water, would end up fighting the lizardmen, the reptile men of Dreshmore. Let's see. Lizardmen have ships and raid places. I see. I think I understand what that comment was. Yeah, let's bring the lizardmen into conflict with the humans. And it's really easy to do that. We just go like this. Whoa, we made a very shallow sea. Boop. There. Now, the lizardmen in their boats and stuff can raid the people, the farms here in Haldrim. That's a super cool idea. It actually kind of makes me want to, hang on a minute. I'm going to monkey with this planet of ours a little bit. Boop, 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 boop. I know you guys already know this, but boop is the sound of terrain changing. You can't. It wasn't my idea. It's just science. You can't argue with that. And I'm gonna make this. And let's move. I need to move the text, stylized text, custom text. Select text. Come here, Tal and Arfel. We're going to move you down here. And let's build you out a little bit, Tal and Arfel. Terrain. Let's get some forest. Let's make this a little bit, make you a little bit more foresty. There we go. And let's make the plains a little bit more plainsy. Let's bring this up a little bit. There we go. There. I want Tal and Arfel to be more of its own thing, more over here. There we go. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. So now we have Tal and in fact, let's make some, let's boop, boop, boop. There we go. Boop. There we go. Wow. Look at the, see now, boop, 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 boop. And let's move Dreshmore a little bit. Select text. The Dreshmore. Oop. No. Come here. Stop. There we go. Dreshmore, Lizardmen. So now Tal and Arfel is a little bit farther away from Haldrum, which means if you are an elf who ends up in the human lands, you've had to go a little bit of the distance. You're not just right next door to the humans. The humans now are surrounded by bandits, orcs, and lizardmen, and that creates tension. And the elves, who are civilized, but not necessarily their allies, are a little bit farther away. And if they want help, if they want to ally with the elves, if the elves want them to help them, then there has to be a little bit of a journey involved, and that's kind of cool. I genuinely can't watch this because I can't lower the quality. I don't know what that means. The quality, I feel like the quality of the stream is pretty low already. I just I just screwed Clockwork's map. I apologize. But this is the benefit of the of the what's the word I'm looking for? Of Hexographer, is I can make stuff. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. Obviously, my goal was not to screw my to screw your map. It's just a little tiny difference. And in fact, let's move Coro Magus a little bit. Let's make it a little bit more symbols. Let's remove this symbol here. And let's create make an icon for their ruined city. Boot. And let's make sure we have fill bottom of hex done. And we'll put Coro Magnus kind of right in the middle. There we go. Move the text. See, so we know a little bit more about Dreshmore now. We know that they serve the Medusa who lives in this ruined city. I would like to know. Stylized text. Why do you vex me so? Here we go. Oh, I really just want to move. It makes me so mad. I just want to move you, text. Come here. There we go. It has some definitely. Wow. Yeah. Definitely Coro Magus. What his face is saying is that the LOD of the stream is too high for him. I have no LOD options. I don't know what to tell you. I like AKA Arashi. I guess I can leave that where it is. I have to go, so here's my idea. It was once an archival city of magical schools, colleges, and libraries. So, but what civilization did that belong to? Was that a city of the Northern Sanction? I don't know. I think it must be an Elven city. So I like that. I like that idea. Coro Magus. Let's make you not. There we go. Once the grand archival city of the Elves of Tal Onara fell, since taken over by the Lizardmen. Now Magora, their Medusa, their uses the spells and codices Codices? Is that a word? Is that a word? Codices? Plural of codex? Codices? Did I just spell that right? C-O-D-I-C-E-S. C-O... I did not spell it right. D-I-C-E-S. D-I-C-E-S. And Microsoft Word did not... Oh, because I've turned off spell checking in this document, because otherwise it goes insane. Once the Grand Archival City... Archival... I think the Grand Archival City of the Elves of Tal and Arfel, since taken over by the Lizardmen. Now Magor will at some point using my writerness, my writer abilities, will go through all this stuff and turn it into English and come up with more details and stuff like that. But I need enough stuff in here right now that we have come up with together to make it to get to seed that final document. I imagine the final version of this document is going to have a lot more cool stuff. And once the Grand Archival City of the Elves of Tal and Arfel, since taken over by the Lizardmen, now Magora, their Medusa Queen. Maybe Magora was an elf, who Magora was a high elf wizard cursed. Oh no, it's getting awfully close to the to our lich that we have, our girl lich. Maybe it's a boy Medusa, a Madir. Nox Noctua. Half the fun of this chat is there's a lot of ruined cities in the setting. Is there? I think there's one. The archival city sank into the swamp. I think that's probably true. Somebody said, I want to draw attention to something somebody else said, but now I don't know what that person said. Because I was so fixated on trying to pronounce their name. Because no one in Twitch chat just uses their name, apparently. I want to bring attention to what Penguin Cinema. I like that name, for one thing, because I can pronounce it. Just saying that yeah, well, I think actually I like that idea that it wasn't Dear Geek Magic, it wasn't a swamp, I don't think, when they built it. A swamp is a dumb place for an archive. Correct. That's why it was in a forest originally. It's been thousands of years. Copy and paste. I find it pretty great that a few people insist on suggesting, what if it's a matriarchy? That may be, apart from gnomes, that may be one of the most common. I don't know why people are fixated on the whether or not the culture is patriarchal or matriarchal. But it's something people definitely, they want to see matriarchies everywhere. Yeah, I think we've got 2 female bad guys right now, so we need some male bad guys and we need some female good guys. But I don't think that's hard. That's easy to do. So we're now not looking at the map anymore. Magus, which used to be a city of Tal and Arfel, and has since been taken over by this is awfully similar to the story. So yeah, no, I think I'm gonna go back. Magus. I like the idea that it's an ancient city, but no one knows like where it came from. Can the Lizardmen be slavers? Well, they can. When you run the game, they can be when anybody runs the game. I've got slavers in my campaign I'm running right now, so I'm sort of averse to putting slavers in this next campaign setting that we're building together. But maybe. I mean, I think that probably the Dwagar. Yeah. Okay. So. Somebody just had a good idea. Waystel just had a good idea. I don't believe Magora should be an ancient being. Perhaps she was a lizard man who discovered something in the archives. I think I'm just going to take that idea and monkey with it a little bit. The ruined city of Magus. Okay, everybody. The ruined city of Coro, Magus, left over from the previous civilization, previous unknown. You know, Tolkien liked the idea that there were just some things that he didn't know in Middle Earth. He's like, I don't know what this. He didn't want to know. He wanted to leave it open because he thought there should be mysteries. And the best way to keep a mystery from your characters is to keep it from you, and even you don't know. The ruined city of Cor Magnus, left over from the previous unknown civilization, explored by the elf. I feel like elf lord. By the elf Magora. Magora's not what was Magora's elf name before she became a swamp? Before she became a Medusa. I think there was this ancient city here, and there were all sorts of archives here sinking into the swamp, being taken over by the swamp, and this elf comes and tries to explore it and gain its knowledge, and gets cursed and turns into a Medusa and now rules Malvira. It's not bad, but I think we can do better. Maradel, there we go. That was it. Come here. Stop scrolling. Zerosius, Maradel. Explored by the elf Maradel, who sought its alien. So we have the female druid on the eastern side of the continent who sacrificed herself to stop the destruction of the forest, right? She sacrificed herself to protect something that she loved, something that was nature, whereas this character, also currently female, because I like the idea that it was Medusa, has gone through a similar transition and gone from being an elf. One character goes from being an elf to one character goes from being human to being a lich. The other character goes from being an elf to being a Medusa. But this one did it because of this thirst for knowledge, wants to understand, and maybe she knows who built this city. Maybe she's the only person. Maybe I don't know who built the city, but she does. And when you run a game here, it's up to you to decide who built this civilization. Maybe it's somebody on this map, maybe the ancestors of someone on this map, or someone completely new, someone that doesn't have anything to do with any of the stuff we've talked about so far, who sought its alien knowledge. I don't think there's an apostrophe there. Who sought its alien knowledge and discovered something that cursed her, turning her into Magora, the Medusa. Okay, so I think we know a lot about the Dreshmore now. Let's move over here and talk about Tal and Arfel. Let's go to hex width. Let's do 100. Grab you, bring it over here. Let's do 80. Let's see, what have I missed? More messages below. All right, Thalamask. I am used to watching you at 2x speed, and this is weird. Can you imagine someone watching my videos at 2x speed? That is insane. Do I need to... I noticed that there is just a ridiculous Twitch name 01. Twitch name 01 just got both my books. They better be good. Well... I like them. Some people don't. Some people read them. Nothing. I don't know anything that appeals to everyone equally. There are lots of really popular books that I do not like, but I really want to go to. Hang on a minute. Everybody, stand by. How do I? How can I use? Here we go, stand by. I'm trying to figure out if I can add. No, there isn't an E. Oh, here we go. Must we till then in prison cell be thrust? We must. This seems unnecessarily severe. Here, here. Okay. All right. All right, somebody say something about gnomes. Let's see what happens. Yay, it seems to be working. Oh, wait. Some people are getting... Yeah. Somebody got past this. I see gnomes with an exclamation point. Let me fix that. Can't have that. Gnomes. Okay. So, we have solved the gnome problem. Whoa, all of a sudden, oh, is that me? Did I do that? I did that. Okay. I will make sure to increase the filter of deleting gnomes. So let's talk about the people of Tal and Arfel. High elves live here. And what do we know about them? What do we write about them? The Haunted Wood, formerly a nation of high elves, beaten by the Drow. By the Drow. So the elves of Tal and Arfel are no longer a civilization. They must have had a capital city at one point, which I assume is now a ruin. What's this? Ruin city. Let's put another ruin city here. Let's put boop. There we go. What is the name of the now ruined high city of Tal and Arfel? Valandria? That's not bad. It sounds like an elvish name. Twitch name 01. The main character of my series his name is pronounced Hayden. How do you get the icons that fill the hex? There's a little button down here that says fill bottom of hex, which I discovered. I did not know that. And it makes, I like that. I like the, I like that, Valarin? People like V's, Valarin. Somebody else, there was Valarin, and somebody else suggested something I liked. Valandria, Valarin, let's, capital, the ruined capital. Let's delete that. Let's bring this up a little bit. Tar and Arfel. The now haunted city of Velarden. How about Velarden? I like that. Now haunted city of Haunted Wood, formerly a nation of high elves, beaten by the Drow to the south. The Drow sacked the now haunted city of Velarden. Killed the king. All right, so here is something I would like from you guys. I see somebody's named Nymphadore wrote Matt with a little heart. Well, I think Tal. People are suggesting Tal something. I think Tal means forest, so it's the or could mean nation. But I don't think it means city, because if it meant city, then they wouldn't have named their nation that. So, what is the name of the? I don't know the answer to that question, Peanut 2232. Let's. What is the name of the? So when there was a king and queen of the elves, they had a court, and they named the court after a flower. What is the flower? Like an that it was like the court of the elves. This specific one. We can imagine other elves in other areas had their own. Why not have high elves have the ability to broadcast a spiritual familiar? Why not? I know that sounds good. I like Iris, actually. The Iris Court. The Iris Court. That sounds good. Where did Tal and Arfel go? Here we go. Kill the king and queen of the Iris Court. The wood is now populated. The Drow sacked the high elf capital of Velarden. They killed the king and queen of the Iris Court. The wood is now populated by hill giants, ettercaps, other nasty beasties. I think that there are still elves in this forest, right? It's kind of like Mirkwood in and there are elves in Mirkwood. So, but I'm trying to think of who's in charge there now. So the king and queen are dead. What is the name of the duke who still, like, it's this guy who has decided not to try to fight back. Like maybe he was an ally of the king and queen. Maybe he was related to the king and the queen. But when the court was murdered, he's the last surviving member of the high elf nobility. The court of the white iris. I like that, actually. The white iris. Okay, the court of the white iris. Oranus. Oranus sounds cool. I like that. Oranus almost sounds Shakespearean. Now, Duke Oranus, the last surviving member. And again, this kind of, maybe this is redundant, or maybe it's like a recurring theme. Maybe it's like a leitmotif where we have similar themes running through the world. You know, we have the dead kingdom, right, to the southeast, and we have the ruined high elf culture of Tal and Arfel. And Duke Oranus, the last surviving member of the White Iris court, is in mourning. His wife and children slaughtered by the Drow. He refuses. He's kind of like, he refuses to take up mantle of nobility. And the high elves follow his lead. So now we know who runs this place, right? Duke Uranus. He was the last. He's and the reason the elves are in the state they are in is because he is in mourning. I think if convinced properly, he's somebody who might be able to rejuvenate the forest, but he doesn't want to because that's not how elves think. The Autumn Lord, the Lord of Autumn. I remember the first Halo game. Their capital ship was called the Pillar of Autumn, which is a very kind of there's a great science fiction series that I love that sounds a lot like the name of which I cannot now remember. I'm having a huge brain fart. The Autumn Lord. Yes. Is in mourning his wife and children slaughtered by the Drow. He refuses to take on Duke Uranus, the Lord of Autumn. The last surviving member, the white. See, so this is what we're going to do this stream. We've been streaming for an hour. I can usually do about 2 hours of this before my brain just completely fries because I'm trying to monitor Twitch chat. I'm trying to think about the world. I think I like the idea that he's a knight. He's a paladin, Lord of okay, so this is the first time I think we've done this. Who is the god of the elves? That if this guy is a paladin and he's an elf in gleaming plate, right? I imagine a thin, tall elf with long hair in highly ornate filigreed plate mail, like not the big brash plate mail of the humans. Who is the god that he one Galactos, glad you could join us. We're about to get some good names. Yeah, no, I think we'll get to the Vale Elves. I don't think the Vale Elves are dying. I think that those guys are happy where they are. Duke Uranus, the Lord of Autumn, of the White Iris Court, is in mourning. I like the idea of the court now being the Court of Fallen Leaves. Is in mourning. They call his noble retinue the Court of Fallen Leaves. That's poetic. It's poetic. It's pretty. I like it. So I almost feel like I should. I don't know if ban is the right word, but when someone suggests something deliberately silly, I know you're trying to be funny, and some of those things make me laugh, but they make my life harder when it comes to sifting through all this stuff. So someday I may get a moderator, someone I trust, that can go through this and say, no, the god of the elves is not Cthulhu. Don't be ridiculous. It's funny, but it makes my life harder. If we're serious about this collaborative world building thing, we can't get too silly. Aofel, no, I feel like I've heard that before. Pel Arn. There's something about that name, Pel Arn, that I like, just because it doesn't sound like an elf deity that I've heard before. But it doesn't sound weird or harsh like Vecna. Lusamore, please. Sardius, no, I've heard. See, I wish I could just right click on somebody and say, no, stop it. There are some good names in here. Did I say, what did I write? Is in it's early in the day, and so later on he'll be in the afternoon. Somebody was calling me out on my bad spelling. He has forgotten the name. Did I already name what is Peanut 2232? What is it I've forgotten? I apologize for calling you out, Lusamore. I using your joke just as an example. Yeah, no, I know who Aofel was. I remember that. No, the light is a terrible idea for a religion. So there's some good names in here. I actually kind of like Polarian. Let's see. He is a paladin. This morning, his wife and children were slaughtered by the Drore. He is a paladin. The elf. The high elf god. The high elf god. Oh, actually, you know what? Is this ridiculous? Naming their god is named after a star in our real world. Is that ridiculous? Is it too ridiculous, or is it just ridiculous enough? I feel like we know a lot about Tal and Arfel. Do we know? We're talking about Dreshmore. Goblins, all that good stuff. The Lizardmen ambush human traders for their metal. I think Lizardmen needing metal in the swamp is great. Tal and Arfel. So now it's too ridiculous, mate. Your mom is too ridiculous. So now tell me about, let's look at the map. I know we've been staring at my, sorry. I feel like Matt is ignoring anyone who has a horde icon. I actually don't mind when certain things from our real world creep into, or are borrowed for a campaign setting. I've played in a lot of campaign settings that ripped off stuff from the real world. So what do these elves want? What do the elves of Tal and Arfel want? What is, if you're not, like, the Duke is in mourning. If you met one of these elves, do they want to be left alone? Do they want, if you were a high elf from Tal and Arfel, what would bring you out of the forest? It's not Thrycreen, Luthon 1234, it's Snakemen. And we haven't gotten there yet. Clockways, I have not read any of the Zelazny books. They want revenge, war. Revenge isn't bad, actually. The revenge against the Drow. Yeah. This is Fiji water with iced tea in it. I actually kind of like the idea that they want an end to their immortality. That they're in decline and just looking for a good way to dramatically end their civilization, but that is, I think, a little bit too dour for a D&D campaign. I like the idea that it makes sense that they would want revenge against the Drow. So let's see at the town. Most of the elves follow the lead of their Duke and want to fade away. But some seek revenge against the Drow. So I think if you are a high elf in this setting, one of the reasons that you leave the forest is because you're looking for a way to revenge yourself. You don't want to go gently into that good night. You want to rage against the dying of the light. You want revenge. You want to go after the Drow. And you need allies to do that. Some seek revenge against the Drow. Exclamation point. We got a lot of wires over here. Yeah, no, I think that we're probably not going to finish this stream. We'll probably end up doing another. Stream because I really want I want to know something about each of these regions. I mean, some of these regions I want to know something about. I want to know who's in charge. These are the things. This is the way Matt Colville thinks. If you were doing this, you would want to know different things. I want to know who's in charge here and what do these people want, right? Because I think that information informs what if I end up here, if our party ends up coming here, how do we interact with these guys? What do they want from us, right? We know that we could, for instance, even though the Lizardmen seem like bad guys, if they are threatening us and our party ends up in the swamp and we have metal, maybe we could trade our metal to them and they would be nice to us. They would give us safe passage, right? Because we know something about what they want. They crave metal because they live in a swamp and they don't have any natural metal. So this is the way my mind works, is I want to know who's in charge and I want to know what do these guys want. So I like the idea that these guys want revenge. And Geek Magic will get to the Drow. We might make them 2-dimensional bad guys if we're lucky. Right, and I think who is the leader of the Winter Court? Actually, most of these, but some secret they call themselves the Court of Winter and follow. What is the name of the lady elf that leads the small faction, the Winter Court? The ones who want revenge against the Drow. If Duke Oranus is a boy elf, what is the name of a girl elf? Turasil, that's not bad. Once again, there are some really good names in here, which means this will all be archived in Twitch. This will all be. Actually, I like Penguin Cinema. I like Verret. It doesn't. You know what? The reason I like it is because it doesn't sound like it sounds plausible, but it doesn't sound like Lady Verret. Follow Lady Verret. All right, give me. Well, I like Lady Verret, and keep in mind, we may go back. I may go back after this and grab just names to flesh Tal. There may be. I mean, I can imagine an entire thin book about a lot of these different regions. So give me a flower or a plant that Lady Verret, the head of the Court of Winter, names her court after. Right, we have the White Iris Court was what this place was called back when it was thriving. What is a plant or a flower? Oleander. Doesn't have to be a flower. It could be just a plant. Thistle seems almost silly, but I like the willow. Willow. Yes, lucky number 11. Evan. Lucky number Evan. It is the Willow Court. The Count of the Willow Court. Yeah, I like that. The Court of Winter, the Willow Court, right? Winter is death, mourning. The willow weeps. It has the anyway. So yeah, this is cool. I think Tal and Arfel is a cool place. So if you're an elf, if we made a party in this setting and you were a high elf of Tal and Arfel, then you would be a member of the Winter Court, the Court of Fallen Leaves, and you would follow or be an agent of Lady Verret. I think that is. I'm gonna swear. Stand by. If you have kids around, la 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 la. I think that is fucking cool. The Countess, I guess. Fine, Countess. If we have to be sexist about it. I guess we have two courts, don't we? The Court of Winter, the Countess of. Let's just say the Countess of Willow. No. We fixed it. We fixed it. She has her title is the Countess of Willow, and her device would be a willow tree, right? But her court is the Court of Winter. So I feel like we know. I feel like we know a little bit about Tal and Arfel. We know a little bit about Dreshmore. We are really. I think we've only gotten 2 places filled out. Let's talk about Corum. Let's talk about. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Let me let's zoom out and look at this whole map. We are learning a lot about the places in this world. We learned a lot about Dreshmore. We've learned a lot about Tal and Arfel. We've learned about who's in charge. What do these people want? What is their internal politics like? Is that interesting to you folks? Is that interesting to the people on Twitch? Is this process, regardless of how long it's taking, because sometimes this process going through this stuff happens really quickly and we get a lot of really cool ideas. Sometimes it takes a while, but regardless of how long it is this process interesting? Or APA 99, this is Hexographer, or is there something else you'd rather be doing? Because we could, for instance, one of the things I want to do eventually is start dropping points of interest like dungeons and stuff like that in there. But I guess I asked the question in a bad way. I guess because everybody's saying yes, but I don't think the answer is obviously yes. I think we could. Let me stop you right there. Penguin Cinema. I'm not. One of the things that I don't hate. Hate is too strong a word, but I'm always suspicious of, and that is consistency. I think consistency is the bugaboo of small minds. It's something I've noticed a lot of producers like. Producers like things to be consistent. But, and it may be that when I revise this stuff, when I go into the text, I go, let's make it so that it follows the same convention, right? Because that makes it sound more real and more plausible. But if we're struck by an idea and I go, that's a cool idea, and I write it down in a way that contradicts the way some other similar idea was written down, it doesn't bother me. It's not the end of the world. It's Gertz. Is it Gertz? I'd like you to take this map into Campaign Cartographer 3. Campaign Cartographer 3. I shouldn't knock. People watch the stream. I know it seems unlikely, but people watch this stream, and I don't necessarily want to knock someone's products. I'd rather promote the stuff I like than knock the stuff I don't like. But I would love. Let me put it this way. Let's say something positive. I would love to see a version of Campaign Cartographer for humans. That would be great. Should bad guys be static characters or dynamic characters, in your opinion? I don't know. I guess that seems like a loaded question. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's keep working. Let's keep working. We've got another 40 minutes or so before I'm probably going to shut down. Let's talk about Corum. Let's talk about the Dwarves of Corum. We know a little bit about them, right? We know that they are experts in clockwork. They are up here in the north, and we can imagine that the world of Collabris, that this is just one region, and that there's stuff to the north that the Dwarves of Corum might be familiar with. The Dwarves of Corum might bring news to the Northern Sanction about stuff going on off the top of the map. Muba, the game guy 415 might have said something about. So somebody said something. Yeah, no, that's. I agree, G-Mag. I should have said, should we do it like this or should we do it like this instead of just saying, do you like the way things are going? Because obviously, if you're here in the Twitch chat right now, you have some tolerance for the way we're doing things. Lester Witherspoon. So when you say it's helpful to see how someone else creates their world, I want to reemphasize. I mentioned this earlier, but people are coming and going from the stream all the time. I have never done this before. This is the first time I've ever built a world like this using this kind of methodology. So the notion of trying to figure out, like, hey, who lives here, who's in charge, and what do they want? these tend to be things I do as a writer when I'm dealing with a specific character. So I just naturally am taking it from a character. Notice that when we talk about the Elves of Talon Arfel, when we talked about the Lizardmen of the Dreshmore, we start with like their people, the people who are in charge, the Medusa, the Duke. And I think that's interesting. I like the idea of taking this place and relating it to a people. So we have a swamp, or we have a forest, and there are people that live here. Because I don't necessarily think a place is that interesting unless there are people there. And then once we have people there, the people represent, they stand in for the region, and the people have a leader, a person in charge. And the person in charge could be a noble leader or it could be a tragic hero. But regardless, now that person is a symbol for the whole people. So we had a region, right? A region symbolized by the people that live there, who are themselves represented by their leader. And so you get like, it all comes down to people, even lizard people, even elf people, people who have wants and desires, and how you relate to them. And the more you make the leaders of these regions relatable and plausible and interesting and dramatic, then I think the more fun people are going to have playing in it. So let me read all the stuff. Let me read all the stuff people were just saying about the dwarves while I was going about the way I think about world building. And this is not, I don't really have a way I think about world building. This is just a methodology that we've developed in the past 3 weeks for this. If we did this again in a different way, we might come up with a completely different methodology. We have dwarves. We have. I like the idea that the dwarves could build airships. Okay, Takame Nemo. That's not a bad idea that the dwarves build airships. It's just, I think that I think of this as being a relatively low magic world, and that may seem a strange thing to say because we have ruined cities and Medusas and liches and stuff like that. But to me, if you're a human being living in the Northern Sanction, living on one of the towns or villages near Ardenia or in Cardus, your life is the same as a feudal peasant here in medieval Europe in the 13th century. You don't see airships flying over. That would be crazy. And that would make it seem like a high magic world. So it's a cool idea, but I think it's a cool idea for a higher magic world than ours. We can have that for these humans, the lich on the island is far away, right? And is a legend or a myth. Obviously not for the people that live near there, but for the humans of the Northern Sanction. And I guess I sort of assume a humanocentric setting, a humanocentric game. If you made a party, they would probably start, actually I imagine they'd probably start in the port city down here, which we will get to. And we'll talk about in the Northern Sanction about who runs Ardenia, Haldrum, and Cardus later. But right now I want to focus on the dwarves. And I like the idea, maybe because I'm a fan of Dune, that the dwarves have houses. House Atreides, House Harkonnen, feuding, that kind of stuff. So I want to know about, I don't like there's a Thane, but the Thane is the head of a house rather than a clan. I think a lot of dwarves are clannish. Let's see. Now I have to read all the Twitch chat. Well, Doomy Bear, it all depends on your point of view. It depends on, and again, I think that if you are a first level character, if you're a first level human fighter, you're somebody who was a farmer a little while ago, and a lot of this stuff that we're talking about in the Twitch chat, you've maybe never even heard of, right? Maybe all you know about the Elves of Talon Arfel is that they're bad guys, and that's it. So let's see. Yep, we need to ban the word gnomish. Yep, well, I'll get around to that. That was something of an experiment. Banning mention of. I don't want to focus too much. I want the creation of. The dwarves of Corim are masters of golem technology is the way I think of it. Not necessarily clockwork technology. Like it's not necessarily gears and stuff like that. It's more that they can animate inanimate objects, but I want that to be something they do, not something they are, if that makes sense. So I want to know more about the different houses. I agree with Dorn. Less clock, more construct. So I don't. Is any kingdom in this setting at peace with itself, with others? I'm sure there are someone, but I don't think peace is very dramatic. Let's see. So do we have a name? Let's go back to the construct. So let's read what we have for Corum. The Dwarven kingdom of the north, they are masters of construct magics, and though a small kingdom, they defend they are masters of construct magics, and I don't need and though a small kingdom, defend their lands with the constructs they build. Their constructs are both large and powerful, and small and delicate. So if you like the Council of No, Mila Minoki. I do not think that naming them after metals would be too on the nose. In fact, I think those are good names for the 3 houses. The Council. I'm just going to paste this in here. House Aurum. Copper, gold, copper, and silver. And we can imagine that there may be lots of, these are major houses. Great house, the great house. Great house. Great house. Right? And then we can imagine that there are minor houses of lots of different metals, or maybe even I like the Council of Brass. I like the Council of apparently I like it so much I bolded it. The Council of Brass made up. So I'm imagining this being like the Landsrad from Dune, which if you haven't read, what are you doing in the stream? Get out. So I mean, should it be the council? I don't know. I mean, brass is brass. I'm about to reveal my ignorance. Is brass an element or an alloy? It's an alloy, right? Okay. So I like the idea that there's a bug in here. The Council of Brass made up of the thanes of the houses, great, major, and minor. I don't have a problem with using Latin names. They make alloyances. Slate_B. That you get 3 points. That is a clever pun. He who would pun would pick a pocket. Let's see. I think Shelp the Magic Dragon, I think the dwarves using constructs as battle mechs is something that would be really cool for you if you were running this game. It is a logical conclusion based on what we have here. And I don't necessarily think a setting needs to answer every question, or a good setting book needs to go into every crevice and cavity. I think it should give you a lot of answers, but it should also inspire you to do stuff. And so I like the idea of dwarves in battle mech for a certain kind of game, for a low to mid fantasy game. That does sound a little kind of crazy. No, floppy disk guy, we haven't really gotten into laws. And I think like if there were a setting book just for Corum that you bought, like you pay $12 and you get everything you wanted to know about Corum, then yeah, we would want to know about the laws of that place. But for something like this, so who is the I do like a good. I don't know that there is such a thing as a good pun. So I guess they somebody said something. Yeah, no, I like House of Minor only made up of the thanes of the 3 most powerful houses, thereby preventing ties in the I don't think legislature is the right word, but I like the idea that there is only ever 3, and this gets to be like if you're a minor house and you want to be a great house, it's because you want to vote on this council, and so maybe they are somewhat democratic. Do we get a little bit of zoom on the Word doc? Yeah, sure. Happy to help. I am a river to my people, even if only in a minor little way of increasing the Do I want a Padishah, the Padded Bra Emperor? If you like Dune and you haven't read the National Lampoon's DOOO. Oh, did I show you guys the minis? My buddy, so my friend Jim, I don't know if you guys, I don't know what made me think of this. My friend Jim, one of the best DMs who I've ever had the pleasure of playing with. I got together with him yesterday at a local gaming store, and he has literally thousands of minis, right? And he is a world-class painter in his own right. He's won the Golden Demon Award a couple times, and he's been painting since before Dungeons and Dragons existed. He was painting minis back when he was just playing war games in the early 1970s, and he offloaded a whole bunch of minis. So this is a bunch of not finished. These guys weren't finished. These Lizardmen for, I assume, a Warhammer army. And I'm like, oh, awesome. So this is what they look like. And it gave me a wyvern, which is fantastic because my players in my Thursday game fought a wyvern, and it retreated to its cave, and they've been constantly thinking about going back to that cave and fighting the wyvern. And you can see a little bit of scale there. I apologize for the sidetrack. I just wanted to show off my friend Jim's minis. And they got me, look at these things. Look at all these minis. Got some undead in here. Look at that thing. There's a Hydra. And I got a bunch of cool like men at arms. Nicodemus, the Count of Rend, is building a castle. He's going to need men at arms. And that Hydra is amazing. Look, there's a mini for like Calorol the Vile. We'll get back to the dwarves. I got a whole bunch of undead now. I had some undead before, but they weren't anywhere near as cool as these guys. You can see there's some ghouls over here. There's some skeletons. There's a wraith. There's a mummy. There's all sorts of cool stuff. Harpies! I got actually 5 now, little harpy minis. And they have like little naked harpy lady women. They are definitely, I love old school looking minis. Is that Nicodemus? Is that actually Nicodemus? That's not really EJ, is it? EJ, are you in the stream? If you're in the stream, I think these guys are going to be your men at arms. There's a giant spider and some dwarves. Will I publish my stronghold? Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will publish my stronghold rules in the future. I just got to get them fleshed out. I got to get them turned into take them from being a bunch of notes that only I could parse and turn them into something cool. Here's a bunch of, I don't know what these are. They're like, there's some kind of dire wolf things, but I think they'd be useful as hellhounds and stuff like that. So I think that's it. Oh no, I got a cool gargoyle mini. And so yeah, thank you Jim Murphy once again. A lot of my minis are stuff that Jim has given me over the years. So let's see. We know a little bit. Who is the current lord? The current Council of Brass, made up of the Thanes of the 3 most powerful houses, thereby preventing ties. Let's see. I told you guys, I don't know if everybody knows, but I was not there for this because I don't drink. So I rarely go out. Well, a lot of the folks I play D&D with are Olympian level drinking buddies. And they were out at a bar. And of course, there's a certain place in Orange County, South Orange County, where if you go out, there's a good chance that if you're from Turtle Rock Studios who make video games, you're going to end up hanging out with guys from Obsidian and Blizzard and Carbine and Red 5 because they're all right around each other. So I think there's a reason this happened. But I think it was somebody from Carbine who knew that there were a bunch of folks from Turtle Rock here. EJ walks in and everyone goes, EJ! And this girl is like, EJ, like, are you Nicodemus? And he's like, yes, I am. I am the Count of Rend. And there are people at other game companies that are watching my videos. And EJ haven't seen him. You'll get a chance to meet EJ in an upcoming. I'm going to start recording my games. I don't think we're going to play this coming up week. We might, but if not this week, then we'll definitely play the week after that. And we're going to record our settings. We're going to record our games. We're going to get a camera on these a camera on these players, a camera on these players, a camera on me, and then we're going to edit them down because originally my whole goal with the YouTube channel, all the YouTube stuff I've done so far was because I couldn't figure out how to do what I really wanted. What I really wanted to do was run D&D, record it, and then use the things that happened at the table as examples of how I run D&D and the stuff I've learned. So that the YouTube video, a typical YouTube video, I imagined, would be me talking, like I am now, and saying, okay, this is an important lesson. Let's talk about this thing that came up, and I'm going to give you an example of it. And then we would use B-roll, actual incidences at the table of what happened. And you'd go, oh, wow, watch. Because one of the things I noticed, like one of the first times I ran at Turtle Rock Studios, my friend Brill we did a thing where they had killed. I think they had killed a dragon. Actually, I think it was a dragon, and the players were like, "Is there? Is there?" They were, first of all, they were incredibly happy that they had killed the dragon. They were pretty sure they were going to die. And it wasn't an ancient red dragon or anything like that. It was a black dragon. And it was like a medium-aged black dragon. And they're like, in the afterglow of having defeated this thing, they were like, what, there must be something we can do with the corpse of a black dragon. It must be valuable in some way. And I was like, of course it's valuable. There's all sorts of stuff you can do with it. If you can successfully get the brain of a black dragon out of its skull without damaging it, then you can take it to an alchemist wizard who can make potions of dragon control, maybe potions of black dragon control. If you can get its blood out and preserve it in a way that an alchemist could use, you could get arrows of dragon slaying made. And they were like, holy crap. And they wanted to know how you could do that. And I told them, okay, you have to make a roll. And I made up a skill, alchemy, which I said meant you had to both succeed at an arcana check and a medicine check, right? That was my idea for how alchemy worked. And they went through the process, and they got some of the brain. They got enough brain, but not enough blood. So they were able to make, or it was the other way around. They were able to make potions or arrows. I don't remember which. And it was a couple of days later, and one of my players, Brill, came up to me and goes, dude, I have looked everywhere in the rule books for these rules on how to make this stuff and how to harvest this stuff, but I can't find it. And I was like, oh, that's because I made all that up. I that's not in the rules. I just made that up because and I presented it in a way that made it sound real. And he was like, what? And he was blown away because he just assumed that all the stuff I said behind the screen was real, was in the rules somewhere, and that's not the case. And I thought how interesting it was that Brill just assumed that. He could not tell. Brill couldn't tell the difference between the rules and the stuff Matt was making up. And I thought, I want to film this, and I want to talk afterwards and go, watch, you can see the moment when I went from describing the rules to making something up. And I think that is maybe the most invaluable tool for a new DM, is to sit there and watch and be like, oh, wow, yeah, you can just invent stuff and stick it in, and if you do it in the right way, the players won't notice. And just dealing with player conflict and all that stuff, I think is a great. I love that the chat is silent now that it's story time. Yeah, I apologize. We were stream, but it's still D&D talk. Fair enough, right? We're not talking about movies or anything like that. We're still talking about D&D. So yeah, so we're gonna film, and then you'll get to meet. That was the point. We have gotten back to the point. You'll get to meet EJ, Nicodemus. You'll get to meet many of my other players, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. It is now 12:40, and it's getting really warm in here. And I don't want to turn the air conditioning on just because suddenly there would be this, like, it would sound like a Cessna was landing. So let's continue working on the Dwarves of Corim. What is the name of the Thane of House Orem? Who is in charge? And I think the House Orem is currently the oldest and most senior house in the Council of Brass. Okay, we're getting great names. Lots of K's. Munch, munch, munch. If I had a moderator, the moderator would ban you for a certain amount of time. Not because you're a bad person, just because in order to keep the chat useful to me, the curator, the suggestions have to be somewhat realistic. Hetmal, Wolfram, Malcor. I like Malcor actually, although it sounds like Malgor. Invictus, Smurg says. No, Ignumbrite, no, or there are 11 elemental men. So maybe there are 11 houses. Maybe there are 11 houses. And maybe there are houses that aren't metals. Maybe some of them are gemstones or something like that. Or maybe the gemstone court or the council of Amethyst was the dwarven kingdom that fell. Mardoon. Name the head of the dwarves. No, if Mardoon is going to be anybody, it's going to be he's going to have to be a tiefling, because that was Matt's character that one time I ran for him. Cork with a C. Somebody said something that sound almost like Hebrew. And Hetmal from Bren 77. And no, I don't want to. No, that's I think there are already too many associations there. So let's stay away from real world stuff. Ignal with a Y. I like that actually. See, the problem is right now we haven't established what a good dwarf sounding name in this setting is. So we've got lots of different kinds of names, which is fine. But once I pick one out of the ether and go, this is a cool sounding dwarf name, then ruled by Thane Ignal. I mean, maybe we'll edit that. Maybe I'll fix it or change it to something else. I don't think of stone giants as having underground trading routes. I think of stone giants as being guys that live above the ground. But maybe there's something there. I am doing a lot of talking, Devolero, but I was a semi-professional singer at one point, and so I know how to project my voice, which is one of the reasons I sound the way I do. By the way, that dialogue with the young bear and the lady net about the shield was just awesomely done. Oh, thank you, Joester95. And I know it doesn't sound like it, but it's almost that is almost exactly how it happened at the table. It is not because I had it written down. I suspected something like that was going to happen. Orgrim, Gethrin, Vendar, Melget, Dargus, Roshan Gurthan, Morgoth, Sindel, Korvac, Molag, Yaldim. There are some good names in here. I apologize for me just sitting here staring at the chat. Actually, Gimrad is Cuprum ruled. This is going to sound somewhat elvish. By Thane Gilmarad. By Thane Gilmarad. So I like Calburn. You know how you started the streams by singing that one song? I sing different songs at the beginning of every stream. We got a little bit of Princess Ida at the beginning of this stream. Is it possible to join my campaign? Yes. All you have to do is work at Turtle Rock Studios and then kill all the other people that are ahead of you. Happens all the time. People do that all the time. I like the multiple syllables of Gilmarad. I like Helmoral. Helmoral, I like that. Ruled by Thane Helmoral. So we have 3 Thanes ruled by Thane. What did I say? Helmoral. Ignal, Gilmarad, and Helmoral. These sound like names that all belong to the same language, right? So even though it's not traditional Dwarvish, which I think we all have some idea of how it works, they sound similar to each other, and to me that makes them useful. Let's see. Well, that sounds like a simple enough quest. Iced tea. Yeah, I think Thane Helmoral. Is there a female version of the title Thane? Is there anyone I could kill to get a job at Turtle Rock? Well, if you took care of me, they'd need a writer. I think that the ruled by Thane Ignal, the oldest house and first among equals on the Council of Brass. So even though technically there are 3 of them, and anytime they vote, they obviously cannot be tied. House Aurum ends up with a lot of weight, right? They gold. Yeah, so maybe Thane is still. So here we have Corum. So we're almost done with Corum, by the way. We know a lot about them. We know we know about the Council of Brass. We know that they are allies. Thane Helmoral, House Argentum, the youngest of the 3 houses, 3 great houses on the council. Brokered the alliance with Ardenia. This peace has brought her house, now we know it's a lady, has brought her house great wealth and power, and this threatens Thane Ignal and House Aurum. Sided with, right, because you can't get that treaty signed if you don't get 2 of the 3 houses of the Council of Brass on board. Sided with House Argentum in the vote on peace with Haldor. On not just peace, on an alliance with Ardenia. Brokered the alliance with Ardenia. So we have 3 houses. We have the old house, the old established house, who voted against the alliance with Ardenia. Well, Fender Saxby, that's probably true. There probably is a minor house, one of the other metals, who used to be a great house. So I feel like we have a pretty good idea of what's going on here in Quorum. We know a lot more than we did before. We still have 10 minutes before I'm probably going to start. I feel like it's time to start to tackle the problem of the Northern Sanction. The Northern Sanction. So if you noticed, I don't know if you noticed, you probably did because you folks are pretty smart, that what we just did was we danced around the big human kingdom. We should talk about Urshok. We should talk about the Dwarves. Yeah, before we get to the Northern Sanction, I feel like the Northern Sanction is a lot of work. Because this is probably going to be... In fact, I may make another map just for the Northern Sanction. Just because I think that's going to be where humans are from, and I think that's where campaigns should start. So let's talk about Urshok. Let's talk about the land of the Orcs. That seems unnecessarily severe. Here. Boop, 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 boop. For a month to dwell in a dungeon cell, looking thin and wizened in a solitary prison is a poor lookout. Where did Urshok go? Fuck are you? Are you not in a little sidebar here thingy? Burnt Hills. Did I not put... Oh, here it is. Way down here. Urshok. So, the Stone Truth. Let's come up with a better name. I don't like Stone Truth. I don't know why. Home to the... What is the name? Yeah! You got here. Humans are boring. Your mom's boring. Is this game going to be streamed? Not in the first instance. It'll be recorded if you're thinking of what I'm talking about. I saw that Clockwork, yeah. Strawman Matt, still stalling, Matt Cole. Am I stalling? What am I stalling? Oh, yeah, well, Athenian style democracy. How do the Orcs and humans? I don't think is there peace with the Orcs? Haldrum made peace with the Orcs. Right, okay. Right, so let's catch everybody up with what's true about this the land of Urshok, the home of the Dwarves. Notice that there's forested mountains. Right, so it is maybe probably an older, more like the Appalachian Mountains, right? So an older mountain range. It's not a young, spiky mountain range like Corum. It is a young mountain range, rather an old mountain range that is forested. And here in the forest live the Orcs. It once stretched all the way south to the mountains. Like this place once all the way through Haldrum, but Haldrum carved itself out. The men of the Northern Sanction cut back the forest and drove the Orcs north. They now call themselves the Canrock, the homeless, because the humans of the Northern Sanction deforested the plain and evicted the Orcs from the Southern Territory. There's a blood feud with the men of... They call them the men of Sanction. They don't call them the Northern Sanction. Only recently quenched when Haldrum, but only Haldrum, made peace with the Orcs. So that's one of the great things about the heraldry, is the Orcs can kind of tell, are you allies? And they're not even allies. They're just, we're not at war with you guys anymore. There's not a blood feud with these humans anymore. What kinds of... Boarhead? Humans are now... Sunny Dan, that's cool. I love the idea of a game set in a world where there are no humans, or humans are mythical, or humans are an extinct race. I don't know yet. We're gonna get there, but first I want to talk about what the name of this orc tribe is. I like the Boarhead tribe. That's not bad. Boar Tusk, Broken Tusk. That seems awfully Red Moon. Actually, Red Moon. Actually, Dorn. I think they're the Red Sun tribe, and I think that their symbol is like the setting sun. So who is the? Who says there aren't so and so too? Who says there aren't multiple Orcish tribes? So who is the well, like maybe when I say like an evil sun, I don't think red sun. I think red because it's the color of blood and they're orcs and they like that. But also I think it's the setting sun because I think Canrock, they're homeless. They see this as the twilight of their empire. Well, like Japan, in a sense. Sure, why not? So who is the head? What would the orcs what title does the head of an orc tribe have? Are they a chieftain? Is it a king? A king of the orcs? That sounds weird, but maybe cool. What type? Who rules an orc tribe? Are they even tribes? Ruled by an orc magi, a Khan. Well, but we have a nomadic steppe tribe in the south. Bonebreaker. No, I don't want to steal my own. I don't want to steal stuff from my own campaign setting. I have a campaign setting that has orcs in it, and they have their own logic, and I don't want to just take that. Warlord isn't bad actually. Shaman, Warchief. Warchief, is that too obvious? No, that's from World of Warcraft. Let's see. There's a bird outside making noise. Warfather. Warfather is not bad. I like that. Warlord. I think what we're hitting on is Head Taker. I like Head Taker. I also like Head Taker. I like Head Taker, and I like Head Taker and Sunbreaker. Oops. I'm going to use them for something. Or Head Taker. Well, orcs like night. They like dark. So, but I don't necessarily think those are... I think the... Oh, you know what? You know what I think the leader... You know what I think the leader of the orcs is called? I think he's called their War Master. I like the idea of beasts. War Master, Head Taker, Sunbreaker, Beastmaster. Look, Beastmaster. It's obvious, but so what? Some obvious things are cool. So, Warfather. Warfather does sound cool, doesn't it? All right. Let's see. What's that? What was that site for doing polls? No, I think it is a title. It was strawpoll dot something. Warmaster sounds metal as fuck. That's maximally metal for those of you wondering at home. If you're wondering how, strawpoll.me. Now I'm gonna. So here's the poll, and keep in mind that a war father could have a war master as a lieutenant. So what do you think? Who leads the red? We're talking about the title. We're not talking about a proper name. We're talking about the title. People, oh, it's live. I can watch it live. This is super cool. People do not like War Master. Fine. So he's the War Father. Yeah. The people have spoken. War Father. Okay. Slate B. I think when the War Father dies and is replaced. I mean, yeah. Then it could be a War Mother. I have no problem with that. So, what is the name of the Warfather leader of the Red Sun tribe? Who is this guy? Give me a cool Orcish name. It's not that they don't like it. It's just like we like. That's fine. Fender Saxby. Hey, I remember you from. It's cool seeing some of these cool people. Gurtak. No, we're gonna keep War Master as a title of a dude who works for him. Kalgroth. Giannis. Kurushk. These are good names. Somebody voted on a name that somebody else liked. That sounds. Some good names. Okay, we have enough names. I think I just got to pick the one I like. So right, if you're typing right now, I'm not seeing the names because I've got plenty of. I think the Sunbreaker is their shaman, right? And it works as magics once the sun falls, once sundown happens. Or Father Halkin. That was what Halkun. Warfather Halkin. It just doesn't sound like there. We have enough super orcish sounding names, so I want something that sounds a little bit has a K in it, has that hard. It's not a plosive, it's not a fricative, it's a glottal. Let's see what else. Halkin, and I think Halarak Renner. I think Halarak is his brother. Brother to the Warfather, leader of the What do the orcs call their army? What does the War Master lead? General Cross 31, I find that attitude, yeah, I find it really cancerous. That notion that you can only, a warband, that makes sense, that a thing belongs to something. I don't think, especially like, proper names is one thing, but I bet if we had read enough fantasy, considering the number of fantasy novels that got written in the 60s and 70s that are now incredibly obscure, we would find that the term Sunbreaker has been used before. I mean, I like Warband. I think Warhounds is good, though. Warhounds. Leader of the Warhounds. So a soldier, there are boy orcs and girl orcs and daddy orcs and mommy orcs and baby orcs. And there are orcs who hunt and there are orcs who fight. And the fighting orcs are called the Warhounds, right? And so they probably have, leader of the Warhounds, they probably have dire wolves. And the Beastmaster is the what do you call somebody who breeds things? What do you call what do you call a murder of orcs? I'm completely spacing on what you call somebody who breeds things. I feel like there is a name for this, but I cannot think off the top of my head. Just a breeder? Is that it? A Kennelmaster, yeah, that's what I want. Of the dire wolves that accompany the warhounds in the battle. Boom. No. I know General Cross 31. I sorry. I don't mean to. When someone in chat says something that makes me go, no, I'm in no way being critical of the person speaking. I'm purely being critical of the idea, and even then, the fact that I'm like, no, we can't throw out every idea anyone else has ever had, because I think that would ultimately leave us with nothing. It has to be okay if someone else through the, I haven't played Destiny, so I don't know that that's the thing from Destiny. So to me, that's just a cool sounding name. If someone else was doing this, or even if I were doing this in a different way or a different date, I would probably be like, you're right, we can't use that. So I just want to try to avoid that thing of like, oh, this is from that. Look, if we had watched enough anime, if we had watched enough, there are whole genres of things that when summed over their history and all the different episodes and series, there are thousands and thousands of these proper names. And if we knew enough, everything would end up being from something. Yeah, Death likes cats. Death does like cats. Cats are nice, Death says at one point. We get some really cool ideas in here. White Rook, I do want to... People have used a lot of suggestions that I am avoiding just because there are other places in this setting, like the Bantur Steppes, that are already nomadic. It's 104, by the way, which means I think Urshok is going to be the last thing we talk about. I feel like I could keep going, but... And don't forget, everybody, I have this thing set up. If you like this content, if you like my stream, if you like my stuff, this is all this technology, of which there is actually quite a lot supporting what we're doing, is all paid for by the sales of my novels. So if you like fantasy, if you like, I write sparse, muscular, hard-boiled fantasy, a lot of dialogue, a lot of action. I don't do a lot of deep descriptive text. A lot of people say they like the world building, and that's because I just mention stuff and move on. There's a lot of ethics in that. So if you like this stream, if you like this content, the best thing you can do, the head takers, the assassins, I agree. The assassin, the elite, the head takers are the elite death commandos of the Warfather. That is fucking badass. Oh, you said a bad word. Yeah, I thought about Geek Magic. I thought about doing that thing, like taking a break and stuff like that. I know, like, Sacriel, whose stream I follow and was a big advocate for the game I worked on, Evolve, early on. That dude streams for 8 hours, but he's playing a game. I could certainly do this a lot longer if we were like playing Overwatch or Hearthstone, or I just downloaded Stellaris and figuring it out. Because I think it would be more... One of the things I miss, the first stream we ever did was the one where we generated this map. We generated this map originally, and all I did was sit there in Hexographer, and there were only 200 or 300 people in chat, and I just clicked random world until I got a world that I thought looked pretty cool, and then we spent like an hour just talking about D&D and movies and stuff like that, and that was awesome, and I loved doing that. I loved just sitting here like we're all hanging out together, relating to people, and it was neat and it was fun, and we don't do that in these streams. We build worlds. We create universes here in these streams. I could go longer if it were more conversational, if it were less critical thinking. There's a lot of critical reading happening where I'm going through what people are saying and I'm trying to get the best ideas, or not even the best, because I think some of the best ideas just pass by and I don't even notice. But ideas that strike me, that's the only way I can describe it, that just stand out for me and I go, oh, that's a cool idea. Better ideas have probably streamed by, and what's the ETA on Fighter? I don't know. I'm working on it. I took 2 weeks off, largely a lot of stuff to get my house that I inherited from my mom in order, but also to work on the novels. Have I ever played Westnov? No, in fact, I've never even heard of it. Lenora, you are one of the only people, like a fellow author named Ian Welke reviewed my book and loved it and said that the heart and soul of these books is the thesis statement from the main character when he says a man is better than the worst thing he's ever done. And it's somewhat I like the fact that people engage with my novels. That makes me very happy. Obviously, it makes me happy. They buy them, they read them, they like them. But the people who I feel like they got it, they knew what I was doing, are the ones who call out this deeply ethical statement that the main character says that drives everything he does, and all the pain and suffering that he has dealt with personally. The way he bears it is by reminding himself all the things he had to do. He bears it by reminding himself that a man is better than the worst thing he's ever done. And when someone quotes that, I feel like that person really got it. Let's see. Where are we? What the hell were we talking about? It's already 107, so you're already getting 7 minutes of free entertainment. Forger of Masks, welcome aboard. We're not done. We're working on Orcish. We're fleshing out this place. We've done a lot of fleshing out. We last stream, we picked one or two. We had done some work just naming places, like who lives here. Dreshmore, and it's Lizardmen. That's cool, and we moved on. But then we got to this place over here. We got to the south east. We got to the Dead Kingdom. And the Dead Kingdom and the Lich, the Druid Lich, who annihilated the humans that lived here because this was originally the Southern Sanction. The humans that moved in, the Dwarves granted the humans right to settle in this land, because it used to be this place was all run by the Dwarves under those mountains. And they were clearing the forest. And this Druid sold her soul for the power necessary and became an undead Lich and was powerful enough to commit like a ritual of desecration and annihilate the humans. And now it's the Dead Kingdom, and they are all the men and women who lived in the Southern Sanction. And I was like, that's amazing. And it was a really fertile discussion. A lot of great ideas came out. We wrote them all down. And then we started talking about, I think actually I'm doing this in the wrong order. We started talking about the Goliaths. People were like, where do the Goliaths live, right? And Goliaths got to live somewhere. And so we put them down here in the mountains of Narashul. And I said, what's the highest peak? And people came up with amazing ideas. And the idea that they worship an air elemental prince, or god of the air elementals, and they have the nine winds, and it's the 9 tribes of the Goliaths, and we're like, this is amazing. And people were like, it's kind of weird that here at the end of the stream, as we've named all these places and talked about who lived in all these places, we suddenly went really deep into these 2 places, and we didn't do that in these other places. So I just want to kind of, instead of it being thin up here and then deep over here, I want to make it deep everywhere. I want to make it deep everywhere. I don't know what that means. And so we've talked about this stream. We talked about Dreshmore. We talked about the Lizardmen who live here and did a lot of really cool work. We talked about Tal and Arfel, which I think we did some great work there. And we talked about Coro. We fleshed them out. And so all these places now have a lot more detail. We know a lot more about who lives there, which we kind of already knew. Who runs this place, which now we're figuring out with Orcish, right? Warfather Halkan runs this place, and his brother, Warmaster Halarak, brother to the Warfather and leader of the Warhounds. The Warhounds are the army of the Orcs. If you belong to Warhounds, I should write that down. I just wrote D. What? Why is there a D there? What was I writing? And I got distracted by leader of the Warhounds, the army of the Orcs. And they ride into the leader of the Warhounds, the army of the Orcs, who charge into battle with their dire wolves. So they are the Warhounds. I like the idea that you could be an Orc PC and be a Warhound. That sounds awesome. Yeah, Jokester95. Like it's excuse me. You have the perfect voice to do an audiobook version of your novels. Randy 1083, you're my hero. I love you. You have the perfect voice to do an audiobook version of your novels. Thank you. And I tried. I'll try again. I've got 2 weeks off. I may start doing audiobook stuff. The problem is not the quality of my voice, even though it is kind of strange to listen to me read my own books. The problem is I'm not an actor. So I started reading the books, and I felt like I was doing a pretty good job. This is crazy. Ready for this? This is pretty crazy. But I got to a chapter that I was reading, and I was like, I'm getting pretty good at this. And this chapter had like 5 or 6 different characters in it, all talking in serial, and I all of a sudden I didn't have enough voices. I'm not an actor. I couldn't do it, and I was like, and it sounded terrible. And I just gave up. I'm like, I can't, there's too many. So I actually went back to that chapter because I'm the writer. I have this power. I have the writer. I went back to that chapter and reduced the number of speakers in it to make it easier for me to read as an audiobook guy. You know, one of the things I thought about doing is using Periscope because I like technology. I like learning new stuff. And I saw Mercer doing some, I got to call him Mercer because there's two Matts. I can't just call him Matt. All my life, I was Matt and Matthew. And I went a little like that when people called me Colville because I'm like, only one person has ever called me by my last name. And that was my 7th grade PE teacher. And so anytime somebody goes Colville, I'm like, but now I gotta live with it because I work with like 6 different Matts at Turtle Rock Studios, which is the first time there's been even more than one Matt at a place I worked. And also now Matt Mercer. So I'm Colville and he's Mercer. And I forgot why I even said that. Why did I even bring that up? Yeah, I'm not an actor, and I stopped, and Sir Brennancy, that's right. I saw Matt Mercer doing a Periscope Q&A, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And I thought, I dated the girl. There's somebody earlier in the stream who's like, I could do with a lot more how to run D&D and a lot less, hi, I'm Matt Colville, let me tell you about it. But there's a point to this. I dated a girl when we were probably teenagers, but we might have been late teens, early 20s. And I read when we couldn't be together, when we were separated by time or distance, we would get on the phone and we would often spend hours on the phone with me reading the Belgariad to her, which I remember telling a teacher friend of mine my teacher, he goes, that's sickeningly romantic. And so I thought it would be cool. This is to use Periscope to read my book live to people, like I'm reading you a bedtime story. I don't know. I think that would be neat. Q Monster Games, if people nerd, if people like the sound of your voice, you should go for it and do voice stuff. I think it's great. I know what Periscope is. So yeah. I am the second result when you go. So let's get back to the orcs. Right? Enough of me. What do you think about me? No, that was a joke. Urshok, home to the Red Sun tribes. We know Warfather Halkan. We don't know really anything about that guy. The head takers, the elite death commandos of the Warfather, they assassins who employ garrots. That's a word, right? Who employ garrots and literally take the heads of their victims. And the Sunbreaker is the shaman who begins his rituals. What is the name of the orc shaman? This Matt Colville guy. Haven't we had enough of him yet? I feel like the answer must be yes. Dire Boars? Al Oogs? Dire Boars? I agree. I agree. Amarax. I like Amarax. Amarax, the shaman, who begins his rituals? No. Do we have enough girls? Don't we have enough boy orcs? Actually, I think the War Master Halarak is sister to the Warfather. Why can't there be girl orcs that run the army? Amarax, the shaman who begins her rituals at dusk when the sun falls. Boom. So, we're almost done with this stream. I don't think I spelled elite correctly. There we go. The elite death commandos of the Warfather, assassins. Okay, so we have 2 things left to do. One is Urshok. Let's bold these guys. Oops, not let's. There we go. War Master, the Warfather. What does the Warfather want? Three women spellcasters. Yeah, so if we have War Master Halarak as a girl, let's although maybe women having a connection to magic, I don't know, maybe that's something cool for this world. Begins his rituals He wants access to the sea. Who is Urshok? They have an alliance with who? Haldrim. I think that, yeah. Warfather Haldrin. Negotiated the peace. Halkin and Haldrim. Is that not too many HAL words? Is that what you guys tell me? Warfather Halkin negotiated peace with the nation of Haldrim. Is that too many HAL words? It's Hall. H-A. It's like, it's not Hal. Hall and Hal. The whole women connected to magic things is kind of stereotypical. Yeah, it is. That's true. I don't think that statement has any information in it. I think it's just that it's true. Doesn't necessarily mean it's good or bad. You guys are answering yes or no, and I have actually. Negotiate peace with let's solve that problem. Let's burn that bridge when we get to it. Negotiated the peace with Haldrim in exchange for access to the port city, which we don't have a name for yet. I feel as though, how many people are in the stream? I feel as though the number of people in the stream is now reduced to below 400 because the amount of stuff happening in chat has become readable. What about that? H's or V's? H's or V's? 409, yeah. Yeah, it's V. You like V? V? People like V. Okay, War Master Valakun and the War Master or the War Mistress? No, War Master. Why does that have to be? Let's not be sexist. Okay, it's V's. Amarax, Valakun and Valarax. So obviously Val is the family name. So here we have Urshok, who has negotiated peace with Haldrim in exchange with access to the port city. So that's what he wants. He wants trade with the other regions of Collabris. Right? Wants to be a legitimate power in the world and with access to the port. So now if you start the port city, there are orcs around. What the hell is going on? There are orcs walking the streets, right? Maybe not a lot, but a few. And that's because, and they have goods to trade. I don't know what they make, but well, I think that's a lake, just everybody in the way. I know I understood the implication was a stereotypical meant boring, but I don't take it that way. This is a lake. All the light blue is lake, and the dark blue, let's zoom out. So these places are inland. They're not, they don't have I mean, it might be nice to be able to use them to get from one place to another more quickly than walking, but this is the show. So I am imagining that the world of Collabris has different regions. This is one of them. And now that we know, atypically for this setting, the orcs of Urshok got what they want, right? A lot of these other groups, they want this, they want that, they're striving after stuff. But when we make a party and we begin, when the clock starts for a campaign, it starts right after these guys got what they wanted, right? And there's probably other humans and other people that don't want there to be orcs in the port city because they think they're violent, they think they're uncivilized, and so there's some tension there. Are these guys a full-blown orc civilization? Not in the sense, I don't think, of like, well, maybe they are. So now so this is the world of Collabris, where it's now 1:22. We've been streaming for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I feel like the next we now of the regions. So let's see, what is there. There is Nar Shul, the Dead Kingdom, the Vale, the Bantur Steppe. There are the Drow and the Dwagar, the Burnt Hills, Talon Arfel, Dreshmore, Urshok, Northern Kingdom, Corum, Zir, and the Scale Hills. That's 14 discrete regions in this world, of which I feel as though we have now fleshed out Narashul, the Dead Kingdom, Tar and Alafel, Dreshmore, Urshok, and Corum. 5. We got about a third of the way done. So next week, when next we meet our heroes, we are going to flesh out probably the Northern Sanction, which might take a little while because we may want to zoom in and put some... I'll probably go in between now and then and draw borders in. Maybe we'll do a stream before then. I'm on vacation, right? We could stream tomorrow. Who knows? No, we don't know much about Zir yet. We know a little bit about all these places, but I want I want the same amount of depth for all these places that we have for Narashul and the Dead Kingdom. And we now know what I want to know is what's the name of the place? We know that. Who lives there? We know that. Who's in charge? Let's know a little bit about their politics. And what do these people want? What is it that they strive for? What brings them into conflict with other races? You can't stream tomorrow. I have to work. Not me. I am on vacay. So let's see. So here's the last thing we're going to do this stream, and then I'm going to log off and go make lunch. If the world is the world of Collabris, what is the name of this region? Blink, blink. S2 Global. Hello, Chile. Hope everything's going well down there. What's for lunch? Probably some black pepper turkey and Munster cheese on seed bread. I'm gonna do this just because I can. Lester with Spoon, that's a huge question. What Lester with Spoon said, that's a huge question. And what he means is, Matt, we need some constraints on that question. Otherwise, the answers you're going to get are going to be crazy. I don't know if the name of the region, like in the Forgotten Realms, there's the Sword Coast, right? Baldur's Gate. No, that's a city. Neverwinter. I think that's a city too. Raxion. Actually, Zero might. That's not a bad idea. Raxion. Why is it called that? Maybe it's an obscure name. Maybe not that many people know that it's the name of the dead titan. The stream every day. You don't, 400 people it's a lot of people, but I don't know. Why give it one name? Well, because we got to call it something. The Fallen Kingdoms. Actually, I was thinking about, unfortunately, I don't think there is a cool. So I'm going to record a video tonight, probably the random encounter video for tomorrow morning, which is one of the reasons I got to stop streaming so I can go record a video. And we're going to talk about random encounters. There's a great, and we're going to give away as part of that stream, and it's going to be tied to a certain number of subscribers. So I'm going to encourage people to go and promote this, help me promote the stream. I'm going to give away the suite of Inkwell tools, which means you're going to get a free copy. Somebody chosen from the comments in the upcoming video is going to get a free copy of Hexographer, Dungeonographer, Cityographer, their heraldry tools, and Cityographer is really cool. It lets you create a random city, but it doesn't give me a random city. It gives me a random city if it's like it's D&D night and the players are going to this place and I don't have a map of it and I make a map of it. But this port city, I want to be a major city with lots of cool features and stuff like that. And it doesn't really do that. Cityographer doesn't really do that. It generates streets and buildings, basically. But it won't tell me, oh, this is elevated, there's a hill here. It doesn't do that kind of stuff. And so I think probably, instead of trying to generate a random city, we're going to, I would just recommend, that's what Renardix is asking. I think probably what I would do is just say, go buy something like Freeport. There are lots of great, the goal of this setting is not to generate everything from scratch. In fact, we're going to do a whole stream, I've already got this planned out, where we drop in all the famous adventures from D&D, all the starter adventures, where's Fandelver, right? Where is that stuff? Because I think that is fun and easy to do, right? Where's Rapan Athuk, right? So I think rather than try to figure out a way to build the city, which would be a huge pain in the butt, I think I would just say go use one of any number of different city supplements for it. The Spine Lands. I don't know. That sounds... There's something about that makes me kind of go, really? It sounds Forgotten Realmsy, I guess. But that's, again, it's down to taste, right? Somewhat hypocritical for me to say, no, let's use stuff from other stuff. And then we go, eh. But part of the act of curating this, Titan's Rest isn't bad. Raxaria. I think if there were a Southern Sanction, we didn't have over here in the West, we didn't have a. There's no one lives over here. No one lives on these plains. What terrain is that again? Grasslands. Yeah, nobody lives in these grasslands, and it would have made sense to me that this would have been the Western Sanction, but there isn't one. So if there was more than one sanction, and there isn't right now, then the sanctions or the sanction lands or something like that would make sense to me. But there's only one. I sort of like Raxus. Raxia. I like Raxia. Maybe I should just call it Raxia. So people like the idea that because the dominant feature, I guess that's the question is, what's the dominant feature of it? Is it the plains, because there's a lot of them, or is it the Broken Mountain Range? And I think if you lived here, it would be the Broken Mountain Range. It dominates. Like if we're looking at it from the top down, but now imagine that you're living here. These mountains are huge, right? So they would dominate the landscape. You'd be able to see these things for miles and miles around. So it probably has something to do with the mountain range. No, yeah, there was no, yes. Kimusabi Leet. How many hours streaming so far? This is 2.5 hours. We're almost done. I just want to come up with a name for this region. No, I want to figure it out. Often when it may be that we are, it may be that people are burned out. It may be that I'm burned out. But I think one of the problems, whenever I ask a question about what's this place called, what does this guy want, and the answers are chaotic or not fertile, it's because I have not properly constrained the question. I think once we have, as artists, as writers, as creative people, we require constraints to be creative. I think we imagine that we want ultimate freedom, but I think the most terrifying thing for an artist is a completely blank, infinite canvas. We need to know, like, Dakaz 5. Good night, those of you who are leaving, and I'm about to leave. No matter where you live, Titan's Teeth. Actually, I like Titan's Teeth. Spine of Raxus. Let's do a poll. Screw it. Let's do a poll. I had somebody recognize my keyboard just from the sound it makes when I type. Alexia. Spine. I'm doing that. That's what we're doing, all oogs. Taking a few ideas and voting. Fridtholf. We are naming this region. We have the world of Collabris, which could have multiple regions, but this map is the map of a region in the world of Collabris. Somebody likes an idea of Dorns, and Dorn has had good ideas in the past. The Splintered Realm. Broken Kingdoms. Okay, we've got some good ideas here, and it may be... $10:30 in the Netherlands. I've had several good friends of mine from the Netherlands. One of the great things about working in video games is I end up meeting people from all over the world. It's an IBM Model M. Titan's Gate. Let's put that in there. Maybe that's the name of the city, this port city, Titan's Gate. So we've got a few cool names in here. Let me put the vote up. I haven't. Okay, let's create poll, and I will link it in chat. Vertebrus. I don't know. I get it, but I feel like it seems it seems a little bit too clever. So we have a poll. Takame Nemo. I'm a huge Anglophile, so people from the Titan's Rest. Well, I think we've got... Wow, people are... It's crazy. Wow, this is amazing. Watching the voting happening live, this is super cool. Nobody likes Raxus' spine. Okay, that's fine. Raxia is getting a lot of votes. I like Titan's Gate. I like the... yeah. So it looks like it's pretty close between... Which region specifically is the poll about? It's about this map. No, Fender Saxby. We're going to pick today. We're going to do that. We're going to... something, we have to... How do you vote again? I don't know. I've never used this site. Whether Titan's Gate is one word or two words, don't worry about it. Logical Seahorse, that's why I didn't put it on there. I am the curator of this. It is not a pure democracy. Waystel doesn't like any of these. He thinks I'm terrible at this. Fine. Whatever. This is I think, yeah, Titan's Gate is a good name for the... So, it's a good name for the world. I mean, I'm sorry, it's a good name for the city. So, people liked Raxia. Well, let's... Maybe we do sit on it. Yeah, the entire map. So I think this town is named... Let's name it right now before we forget. It's probably in the Northern Sanction, and that includes Titan's Gate, the port city, built and defended by the men of the Northern Sanction. So the reason this is important is it lets them trade with, because as far as I know, the men of the Northern Sanction are the only humans on this part of the map. So presumably there are humans in other parts of this world, the world of Collabris. And the way you get there is through Titan's Gate, by the men of the Northern Sanction. For those of you joining late, or who missed the thing, this, I believe, is the... We're almost done, Mike Bfo 20. I just want to come up with a name for this map. And right now, people like Raxia. So I'm going to go with Raxia for now. And maybe next week. There are times when I like the name of the tribe of orcs was a broken the stone tooth tribe, and I just looked at it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, it was like a week went by, 2 weeks I think went by between naming that and looking at it, going, nah, I don't like it, and we threw it out and we came with something else. So for now, it's called Raxia because it's the name of the Titan that this mountain range is kind of allegorically the spine of. So Collabris, and this is region. And maybe next week or whenever it's getting really warm in here. It's warming up. It's getting to be afternoon in Orange County. So who knows? Yeah, maybe next week we will we'll change it and come up with something else. And I think that's it. I think that's it for today. We I don't know if it seems like we got a lot done, but we learned a lot. We fleshed this document out a lot. We learned a lot about the government of Corum and about who runs that place and who lives there. And ditto Urshok. We know a lot about the orcs of Urshok, and they're pretty cool. We know about the Lizardmen of Dreshmore and who runs them. We know about the Medusa, who commands them. We know a lot about Tal and Arfel. We know about the White Iris Court, and we know about the Duke, who is the last survivor of it after having losing to the Drow. And we know about the minority. You can hear my voice is starting to go a little bit. The minority of elves who want vengeance against the Drow and form their own court, the Winter Court. So I think that's it. I think that's it for the stream. Let's save this. And I'll make sure that when this gets uploaded to YouTube, that there'll be a link to the actual Hexographer file. So if people want to, people can literally just open this up in Hexographer and do what they want to it. Any names that we came up with you don't like, you can change. Do you still wish to close the window? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think Randy 1083. We probably will if we do more regions. There's probably a human. Where do the humans start? Where do they come from? I don't know. So I think this is it. I'd like to remind everybody, just because the more support I get, the more technology we get, and the more technology we get, the easier and more frequently we do these things. If you like this stream, if you like this content, come by my Amazon page. There's a link in the blah blah. Let's call the Twitch chat the blah blah, and the below the thing that we have the doobly doo in YouTube, and we have the blah blah. So here in the blah blah, we have Twitch chat, and every time I try to add a little bit something. We added the little thing where somebody subscribes or whatever, they get a little in Twitch chat. In Twitch, you see a little badoo, which is, I just turned that on thanks to my friend Jay. I love you guys too. I love this stream. I love this content. Tomorrow, if I get my stuff together for tonight, we'll record tomorrow's video, and should be back on schedule, and we'll do a video tomorrow about random encounters, about what they're good for, about how I use them. So what they're good for is a general subject, but then how I use them, which is specific. There's not only one right way to do things. And I think that's it. I think we're done. I'm going to close this document. And as I always do, I'm going to update everything and put it up, so you'll be able to see snapshots of all this stuff online. And ultimately, I've already begun the process of this. I am going to take the videos of these videos we make, and when we're done, which I think might be next week or the week after, we'll see, I'm going to edit them down and edit out all of the stories and nonsense and the me staring at Twitch for 10 minutes, and just so you could watch the world being built. And I don't know how long it would take, but that video, it's, instead of trying to sift through hours of Twitch archives, you could just watch this one video, and that would be it. I don't know when the next campaign recap video is going to be, because we're on hiatus. I have two different groups, Lars's group and Phil's group at Turtle Rock Studios, and I thought I could do 2 different campaigns. I thought I could run 2 campaigns of D&D a week, and I probably could, except I started this YouTube hobby, and as a result, that is taking all the time I would be giving to one of those campaigns. So really, I only have time to run 1 game a week, and so I'm taking the 2 groups and consolidating them into one, which unfortunately meant I had to kick out some players, which sucks, but there's nothing you can do for it. There's way more people at Turtle Rock Studios that want to play. There's like 100 people that work there. There's way more people that want to play than I could possibly DM for. And so I tell people, just run your own game. If you want to play D&D and you can't get into my game, Go run your own. And so I have to do the work to combine these two games into one. And once I've figured out exactly how to make them dovetail neatly and ideally dramatically together, then we will start playing again. And I was hoping to do that this week, and we may still be able to do that this week. But if not, it'll be the week after this that we'll have our first campaign diary again. Yes, and in fact, I'm on vacation, and that gives me time to do something like the next History of D&D One Fighter at a Time, third edition. Third edition should be fun and interesting. A sad sign. Why is a sad sign says, that's why I'm here. Why are you here? For why? How big are the two groups? They were each 6 people. So that's 12, and I had to kick 3 or 4 people out to get it down to, I felt like 7 I could do. And once again, Cortana has decided to chime in. All right, that's it, everybody. I had a great time in Twitch. We learned a lot of really cool stuff about this setting, and I think we've probably got 2 more of these streams in us before we are done, and we'll see what happens. I hope you guys had a good time, and we may stream. Follow me on Twitch. I'm sorry, this is Twitch. Follow me on Twitter, Matt Colville, at Matt Colville. On Twitter, because I may do a stream in the middle of the week. Who knows? I'm on vacation. I can do what I want. And I don't want you guys to miss anything. Other than that, I will see. Let's bring up OBS so we can make sure this happens in an appropriately dramatic fashion. Wow, is that what my hair has looked like this whole time? Holy crap. I'm astonished you guys put up with this. That's it, everybody.